Hello, and thank you for tuning into Moss Talks. Today, we had the pleasure of speaking with Lia about her experience as a designer. Thank you, Lia, for joining us today. So, first question, we read that you've been designing since you were 7. Do you remember the first piece you ever created or the first moment you felt fashion was your thing?
I actually do, and it's like really like a pivotal moment of my life that I always like think back on. Like, wow, like I wonder if I just never did that, like would I even be here today? So, I want to say like really the first time I really kind of had a semblance of even what it means to like construct a garment was when I was like, I think I was like 5 years old, and I was like in my family living room, like playing with construction paper, like trying to make a pair of shorts, like with the staple gun. And I don't know what I was doing, but like I knew I wanted to really like make something. And then I went to like a summer camp when I was 7, and I already been learning how to hand sew because like I was in Girl Scouts and stuff. But there was this thing in Detroit. It's called Arts and Scraps, and they actually had like a little truck that pulled up to our summer camp. And I went on the bus, and the first thing I saw was this black, gray, and white striped fabric with all like vertical stripes. And I was like, oh my gosh, this looks so cool. So I took it and I made my very first dress with it. Like I hand sewed it and everything. And I was so proud. I put it on, I showed everybody. I was like, look, I made a dress. And ever since then, like I would just be making stuff, and like it just was something like I just really loved to do, and I couldn't get enough of, and I still can't. So
So, did you say you hand sewed it or did you use a sewing machine?
I hand sewed it because I didn't even have a sewing machine, or I didn't even know how to operate one. I didn't get my first sewing machine until I was like, I got it for my 8th birthday, and it was like a tiny little baby sewing machine, and I ran that to the ground and to the next one, and I just kept getting them until I got the big boy. So yeah.
Was it, was there anybody else in your family or a friend or anybody you knew that sewed as well?
My mom, she takes like a lot of credit for like me obviously doing what I do because she was like one of the first people kind of show me how to sew. So I remember like obviously she took me to Joann's. Like I remember that like yesterday when she took me to Joann's and get that on my birthday. I was like, oh, that's the best birthday present ever. But so she would be kind of showing me how to sew because she had made her prom dress and stuff when she was like in high school. And so she would be kind of showing me how to use patterns, and like she would be trying to take me to classes and stuff so I can learn. But I was looking like really hard headed when I was younger. So I'd be like, no, I don't need to go to classes. I can learn by myself and all this other stuff. But I did end up, obviously going to classes so I can get better. But yeah.
Love it. I love that she poured into you and, saw your skills. So when you're starting something new, what comes first for you? Are you sketching? Are you inspired by the fabric? Or are you exploring a theme?
I think for me, it depends. I definitely think like earlier on, I was more focused on like the feeling I would get when I would find a material, and I would be like, oh, this could be this or this could be that. And I would just really be experimenting. But as like I've been getting older, like I've really been like, honoring the process of what it means to design. So I will conceptualize first. I would be like, okay, like you guys have a theme for your magazine. I'll be like, what is the theme I'm going for? And then with that I'll dive into like a little bit of research. Where do these themes come from? And then I'll begin sketching, and then I'll start sourcing fabrics, and then I'll start like making clothes. So I guess like a good example for that is I made this corporate chaos collection, and it was something I really wanted to do because I had initially made something earlier that year which was a tie corset, and I just really loved it. And I was like, wait, I can make like a whole collection off this idea. So I kind of went into like light research, and I guess like research for me back then was more so like, let me look up a bunch of pictures. Like, what were people wearing like in the 80s when they were going to offices? Like, when were they first dressing up corporate? What was the first like blue collar outfits and stuff? Like, oh, they wore a lot of collar shirts. They wore a lot of pinstripes. They wore like a lot of suiting material. So after I got that kind of information, I would be like, okay, let me go to the fabric stores and see what I can find. Let me find the right shirting fabric that I can use to kind of make this hybrid collection that's in my line. So, yeah, so I usually do.
I love it. I love how like you do take time to explore it. Kind of like if you were like writing a paper, like you're really like thinking about all the details and, hoping it all comes together and working really hard behind the
Mhm.
scenes.
Definitely, definitely.
Like when you're exploring all these fabrics, these textures, how do they guide your process? Do you find yourself changing direction basically off the fabric?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I think I'm gonna make some one thing with the material, but if I don't have like a concrete idea with it, I definitely do pivot. Like I'll start with like an initial idea, and then if I'm not feeling it, or like if I make a muslin sample and I'm like, oh, this not what I thought it was gonna look like, then I'll definitely like change it up and I'll be like, okay, well, let's pivot, let's try and make something else. Cause, I mean, if I'm not feeling something 100%, then I mean, this just means the idea isn't the right idea. So I often change what I'm doing.
I
Yeah.
see a material has a big impact on like the end process sometimes, especially when like you're creative with it. Because obviously, as designer, you have to be creative with it.
Yeah, definitely do. I don't know. I feel like materials also too just kind of speak to the story that you're trying to tell. And I realize that because it's like, you might pick like a poplin material, but why poplin? What is the significance it has to the collection that you're making? Is that historically found in the place that you are creating it off of? Like my last collection I just did, I got a chance to go to Italy early this year. So um I found like a lot of inspiration from like leather and stuff because obviously they have like a lot of farms out there and they're known for leather. And I was like, well, yeah, like obviously, my inspiration is that I need to use materials that reflect that place or that time. That burgundy, they have so much burgundy awnings and stuff outside of their like restaurants and stuff. I need to use that color to reflect, like everything. I feel like when you really think about the details and you like really hammer down on what it means and why it needs to be there, then it makes it so much easier to design because you're building a story with the clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've always thought that was cool, like just thinking about fashion as history. Like if I like watch like Bridgerton or like a time period piece, I find myself on Google like, okay, what was fashion really like? How true are these costumes to what they were wearing? So I think it's really cool that you're thinking about the actual history, what was really going on and what you can pull reference from in your now collection. So your work has been exhibited in museums. Your work has been shown in New York Fashion Week. You've collaborated with giants like Pepsi. So I want to ask, which of these moments felt like a turning point for you as a designer?
Honestly, I feel like all of them, but like for different reasons. So like I feel like when you have those first, it kind of does change your perspective on who you are as a designer. So like a couple weeks ago when I was able to put my clothing in like a museums from the help of my mentor, but that was like a really like defining moment for me because going to museums and like seeing garments hung up and really treated like the art that they were, it just was really amazing. And I've been to exhibits in New York where they'll have like the Terry Mugler setup going on, or they'll have the Virgil Abloh thing, and it's like the work is being platformed like art because it like is. And so for my stuff to be kind of like platform in the same way, it's like really, means a lot to me because I'm like, wow, like this is why I do this. It's so cool to have other people kind of get that perspective on my stuff as well. And then um doing work with like Pepsi through like the master classes I was doing, like that was awesome too because it's like wow, I'm able to, create connections with people in these rooms I would never thought I would have been in if I hadn't put myself out there. And yeah, like I don't know, it's just interesting to see myself grow. And I think back oftentimes, like then a couple of years ago, I wouldn't even thought like I would be doing the stuff I'm doing now, but I am. So it's really cool.
The last question: when people wear your designs, what do you hope they walk away feeling?
I just want people to feel like empowered. I want them to feel like beautiful. I want them to feel super confident and like cool and like feel like they could conquer the world. Like, they're really one of one type of individuals. Like, oh, like, I don't know. I just want people to feel like, regardless of what other people say or do or whatever, they're able to, live in their truth. So that's like a big thing that I like to do in my clothes is make clothes that make people feel like the only person standing in the room. So, yeah.
I really do think you accomplished that just from
Yeah.
looking at your work online and on social media. Like the models who are wearing your work, they do have that confidence about themselves. So I think you are doing that.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move straight into our quick fire. Basically, I'm gonna ask you a question. First answer that comes to your mind, that's what you're gonna pick. Okay. Your dream client,
Rihanna.
one designer you love to collab with.
I'd say Laquan Smith. Laquan Smith I like his work.
Describe your style in 3 words.
I would say dreamy. I would say kind of edgy. And I would say like mysterious and sexy. Sorry, that's 4. But Got that in there.
Necessary. What's your biggest source of inspo?
I would say like nature and dreams. Yeah.
So the next question, I want you to fill in the blank. Fashion is blank.
Transformational.
Okay, so we can go back to the Cody answer. So number one, Rihanna was obvious.
Yes.
Like, I would say, would you have picked Rihanna before the baby or after the baby?
I would have picked her like any given time because I'm not gonna lie, like Rihanna is like one of my like growing up and she being like an icon as a kid. I'm like, oh my god, she's like so cool. Like I don't know, like she's just really that girl. I'm like, wow, like her style, how she just dresses herself, how she like breaks boundaries, and everybody's following her trends after a while. And the fact that she's been doing it for like 20 years at this point, it's crazy.
Yeah.
She's really been like an inspiration of like my whole
Yeah.
whole life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, wow, she's just, that would be a dream client for me because, yes, I love Rihanna.
So my next follow up would be your biggest source of inspo. You said nature and dreams. Like, I'm pretty sure like you think about like you daydream. Like, do you ever like go to sleep and you'd be like, hold on, I got this thing.
Yeah, I
I
have
need to get
like
this.
crazy dreams. And I feel like a lot of kind of when I changed like my themes and my thesis of my brand, it kind of tailored towards that because it was like part of it was, you know, like believe in your dreams shit, but also too like I really have been having like weird dreams since I was like a kid, and I feel like I use those as a way to kind of like tie that world and this world together and pull out my consciousness so people can like see what I think or how I think. So yeah,
That's real because you got to make the vision so people can see it.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Again, thank you so much for joining us today, y'all. If y'all have Instagram, if y'all have TikTok, any other platform y'all can think of, go follow her, please. Go look at her work; it's amazing, and I'm pretty sure y'all gonna see the visuals soon. So please, like we say every time, like, repost, comment, like they say on YouTube, like and subscribe,
Yeah.
do all the stuff.
Smash that like button.
Y'all, please go support our artists. Like we said, like we talked about earlier, museums. Our work is in a museum. But how many people you can say that their work is in a museum
On
at
display,
our
on
age?
exhibit.
Yeah, exhibit and exhibit.
I also think it really speaks to the fact that we like to talk to people of all creative fields. So even if you don't necessarily think for some reason you're like worthy of being a part of like this platform or this magazine, but like you are a creative, like we want to see your work. I think that's been one of the fun things about doing this is to see just how vast creativity can really go.
Yeah,
So I think it's really cool that we are able to speak with designers and, understand and realize that their work is art, and that they like their work gets displayed or like we see fashion everywhere. And it really does, it's a testament of like the time periods and what's going on, like in the locations and the politics, like I don't know. I like fashion too, so I just think it's interesting, and I don't think a lot of people realize just what a cool creative field it is.
yeah, yeah. I don't even know how to like encapsulate it into one thing because as soon as it's ever evolving, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. Like, I'm not even talking like trends. I'm not talking about like trendy fashion. I'm talking like actual like pieces you have to sew, put together, and
Mm-hmm.
like present to like what do you say, people that have been doing this for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and like showcase that you actually know the techniques, know the embroidery style that's needed, know the stitch count that's in this shirt. Like it's just
Yeah, like the
all these
technical
different
part
things.
of it. Yeah,
Yeah, like I may be just on the ground level surface saying things, but at the same time, there's a lot that goes into just making a garment.
one garment at that. I
Yeah,
think that's what I've always admired about fashion designers is that so much work goes into one piece. What do you mean you just made a whole collection?
yeah.
Like that. I have always just been blown away by that because like you were saying, like the stitching and the hemming and don't get me started on the bobbin. Like it's just so much that goes into creating garments.
Like I said earlier, y'all go follow Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Go look at look at more of our work so we can sew this thing together. Okay.
Oh,
All right. Y'all been
amen.
great. I'm Joel. That's Sydney. Thanks for tuning in to Moss Talks.